Assalamu alaikum. I want to make this video for my Muslim brothers and sisters all over the world. I'm somebody I was born a Muslim, grew up in a traditionally Islamic household, African household, and my whole life I've been a practicing Muslim. I fasted in elementary school. I prayed 5 times a day in elementary school, through middle school, through high school, through college. The more I learned about the deen, the more serious I took it. I was really committed to it. And throughout my young life, I played sports, played football, played basketball, which I ultimately, did that as a career and as a profession. All through high school, I fasted during the season. I fasted throughout my college season, which was extremely rigorous. And I used to catch full body cramps after the games in college. Just being committed to fasting, and I would break my fast and it'd be in the middle of the game. Drink some Gatorade, have maybe some fruits and get right back in the game. I tried really, really hard to be the best Muslim that I could be. And I started to travel the world due to my career. I spent most of my professional career playing basketball overseas, multiple different countries. And I lived in a lot of Islamic countries, a lot of Muslim countries. I'm doing this message because I fell off. I went through some things culturally, from an Islamic standpoint, around other Muslims, and saw certain things in different Islamic countries that really just broke my heart. And it started to make me just question the deen and question the religion as a whole. I already know, for the real devout Muslims out there that are watching this video, I know every rebuttal that you could probably say. Islam is not the people, it's the religion. You don't follow the people, you follow the religion. All of that, and every other rebuttal that can be offered. But for those who are in that space that are really devout, I want y'all to hear me too, because so many of you are the reason why, or you play a role, you play a part in why solid Muslims, they leave the religion. Y'all play a big role in it. I'm going to take some responsibility for myself, because when I was super devout, I was always compassionate to people. I was always understanding to people. But sometimes when you're so firm and other people aren't able to be as firm as you, and when they're around you, it makes them feel like they're failing. It makes them feel like, why am I doing this? I'm not doing it right. And it becomes difficult for them. I know so many sisters who, in particular, have gone through this, who, because of their husbands being so strict, they've left Islam altogether. And it's sad, it's unfortunate. Good women who been through a lot in their lives, and they come into the deen for security and for stability and for kindness and for compassion. And then you got brothers who are just difficult. and these women end up leaving. For me personally, I got tired of so much of the cultural racism. I got so tired of seeing how black Muslims were treated, all over the world. See, because the amount of traveling that I did allowed me to live in other countries, live amongst the people. This is not to paint any group of people as a whole as being one way. But if any of us if we're being honest, we know how black people are treated around the Islamic world. It's horrible. Now, again, there are a lot of Muslims I've met, different parts of the world: Egypt, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Saudi. Some people from these places are such good people, they'll literally take their clothes off their back and give it to you. They'll literally give you their last piece of food. But there's a collective cultural racism and mistreatment that black people, African people, more particularly African people, deal with globally. It's the unity that we speak on. You can see certain brothers from different parts of the world, and you see how together they are collectively when it comes to their brand of Islam. We talk about the deen is for everyone, and the deen is, sees no color. But then you have the Indian masjid, you got the Pakistani masjid, you got the Bangladeshi masjid, you got the Turkish masjid, you got all of these different masjids. But then when the African brothers or the black brothers want to do something exclusive or similar to what these other, cultures do, it's always some pushback. It's always some type of, well, why do we need to do that? We're all brothers. They discourage us from coming together and doing exclusive things for ourselves, all while that's what they're doing. You go to the Arab world and they have numerous things that's specific for them that you can't be a part of, even though you are supposed to be their Muslim brother, because it's for their culture. It just turned me off so much. And it really started to impact my faith. And I really strayed far away from it. Anybody knows me know how I grew up. No matter what I did in my life, I always had and kept Islam close to me. In these last several years, I've just moved further and further and further away from it. I accept accountability for my own behavior. I don't blame anybody. I'm speaking from my experience and the things that I've seen, lived through, done that impacted how I saw things. So many, again, women and other brothers who I've seen be mistreated to the point where they just don't even want to be Muslim anymore. Man, it's important to allow people to go through what they go through and not make them feel like they're doomed if they don't do it exactly the way it needs to be done. I'm somebody who I push, I go hard at everything that I do, and everyone around me, I expect them to do the same. But as I get older and I realize more and more, people going through a lot, and not everyone is able to just push through. People need breaks, and they need to be able to stop and pause, and they need to be able to regroup. And when you truly care for them, it's important that you allow them that time. Ever since I've stopped practicing the way I used to, I've just, it's been ups and downs. I've had a lot of success in areas, and then I've abruptly had challenges. And, when you're not practicing your deen, you just kind of feel exposed. You don't feel protected. You don't feel, connected to that higher source. You don't feel connected to Allah. And no matter what you do, your peace is going to be affected by it. Your behavior is going to be affected by it. I'm speaking to the people who understand where I'm coming from, who understand this deen. But I'm also speaking to people who are working their way through it, trying to figure it out. Maybe you knew coming into the deen. It's important that you surround yourself around a really good support system. People who are practicing, but they're not so rigid and so strict that you can't be around them and still feel like you're a part. You still want to feel like you're a part of this deen, and you need your community to surround you and support you. Due to my career, again, I've had success. I've been able to do a lot of things that, let's say, the average person isn't able to do. I had so many situations when I would go to the masjid after I would come back from being overseas. If I had a new car, if I had different kind of thobes and distashas, which are traditional Islamic garments for males, I would have that traditional look, expensive shoes, shades, and the way people would look at me and treat me, and it was just awful. You felt the jealousy, you felt just the tension, because it's almost like they just look at you like, why do you have it? And then I would look at some of my Pakistani brothers, some of the guys who owned gas stations or had other businesses, who would come to the masjid with their nice cars, their nice clothes, and everyone would just praise them for whatever Allah blessed them with. But when it came to me, and again, I witnessed this with other brothers, other black brothers who were doing well in the community, it would be this resentment towards them. It would be just this jealousy towards them. It's because so many of our own brothers and sisters in Islam think that we are like second class. They think we're second class Muslims. And when you experience a lot of those different things, it just turns you off. But I did this video because I'm back on my path to get back on my deen. And I'm encouraging any brothers and sisters out there who have struggled. If you left the deen, come back to it. If you're thinking about leaving, stay strong. Just find a support system. Find the right people that you can grow with. Don't allow these different experiences and people to take you away from such a beautiful religion. I'll be the first to say it's a lifelong journey, and you got to keep working at it. You got a lot of people who will say, man, the religion is perfect, all of this and that. You know, Allah knows best. What I do know is that foundation is what got me to this point. And again, I'm somebody who, my family and I are immigrants, came to America in '85. And due to what my parents taught me, African and Islamic values, it guided me throughout my young life. When I was exposed to so much that could have taken my life to a whole nother course. And Islam helped me stay on the right path, achieve so much. The characteristics that you are supposed to possess as a Muslim, when I embodied those things, I had much more success in my life, much more peace in my life. But it's, you know, it's for whoever believes. You know, I'm not on here to really try to convince anybody of anything. I'm just sharing my experience, and I'm trying to encourage anybody who may feel the way I felt to, if you need to take a break, but don't leave. Again, surround yourself with the right people. You know, as Muslims, we tend to be extremely judgmental. I don't suggest that the things that as Muslims we believe are wrong, we should just do it in order to feel like we're being tolerant. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, if people err and they make those mistakes, don't just throw them away. Still be there for them, because you're not the one that's judging them at the end of the day anyway. And some of the most spiritual and religious people, they make mistakes too. So it's more about the journey than these individual isolated situations that we go through. It's a lifelong journey, man. And I encourage you all to come back to the deen if you left. Stand firm on it if you're still here. And I'm thankful that Allah put it back in my heart for me to come back. Anybody out there that's going through it, who's struggling with their deen, hit me up. Again, lifelong Muslim, born Muslim. I understand the deen well. And if there's any way that I can help any of y'all get a better understanding, I'm here for you. To all my brothers and sisters out there that are tough and rigid and difficult, ease up. Because you don't know who you could be helping, who you could be saving, just by being patient with them. And we already know how important patience is in the deen. It's extremely important. You know, may Allah guide all of us and make things easy. And may Allah protect us, you know, and bring us all closer to the deen and closer to one another, man. And all of the differences cultural wise that push us apart, we got to get over that stuff. I'm totally for people embracing their culture and doing things exclusively for their culture. I don't think anything is wrong with that. What I've had a problem with is those same people discouraging us from doing these same things that they do. And then some of our own people discouraging us from doing it. At the end of the day, whatever you do wrong, inshallah, you can come back from it. Let's just keep striving to do better. Assalamu alaikum to all my Muslims out there.